Me,
Abby.
we just watched Before the 90 Days, Season 8, Episode 12. Do you have any preliminary thoughts?
Well, as I'm watching now, I keep thinking about the fact that you're going to ask me what I think the theme of this episode was. So I
Yes.
think the theme for this one was, I don't know what to do.
Okay.
So many people said it, and it's like, okay,
Did they?
ongoing theme. Okay. This is
Okay. I like it.
good.
That's a good one.
Also, a lot of what is going on here?
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
Might have been completely unnecessary too. Let us
Yes.
discuss in further detail after our 1 and 2,
Yes.
rate, review, and follow us wherever you listen to the podcast. 2, watch us on YouTube if you prefer at 90 Day Fiancé Honestly. And now we may begin with Lisa and Daniel.
Oh,
I will leave this to
Lord.
you. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord. To some, she literally shit the bed in her sleep. And it seemed as though he was more upset about her wig than he was about the bed situation. I was kind of taken aback by that. I feel like that would have upset me quite a bit more. Strange. And I'm not going to age myself, nor am I going to age you, but in all of your years, have you ever, outside of, infancy and possibly being a toddler, have you ever pooped the bed? You don't have to answer that question, but
Good Lord.
for her
No.
being, what 56?
52.
Oh, either way, what an embarrassing moment. And what happened?
It does not bear dwelling on.
Okay,
This
let's move on.
This is something that happens to us all, not necessarily in those exact circumstances, but we're all familiar with being violently ill.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Lisa, for them to exploit it and use it as a moment to film, I found rather in poor taste.
Distasteful? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This was a very private moment, very embarrassing, and I really don't think it was necessary to share that with us, except for, as you mentioned, the fact that it is interesting to see Daniel's reaction, which is less what? It's less
I want to say it's more
upset?
accepting.
Yeah, it's definitely more accepting than the whole wig situation, which is baffling. Anyway, when Lisa said that they were going to go to a cooking class, I was happy. I always think that that's a very romantic idea as a date, to go somewhere, learn a new skill together, and then enjoy the food. But no, it's not a date so much as an opportunity for her to get a lesson in how to cook for him, which just totally messed it up for me. I was like, might as well take her to a maid's house and give her a lesson in how to clean. Like, that's just sexist. No, thank you.
Yeah. I was actually looking forward to the cooking class. What are they gonna make? Is she gonna make it through? I really felt for her after having the stomach flu myself last week. So it I think she did well, though it was fairly irritating with she kept like checking in with him. Am I doing good? Am I okay?
Simpering.
Yeah. Thank you. I could not figure out that word while I was watching it. Anyway, so I thought the food looked absolutely delicious. He seemed to be quite happy with it. He was excited about eating, as we normally are. And then she takes the opportunity to bring up the evening's unfortunate circumstances as he's taking his first bite. Ma'am, can you let him enjoy his meal first before you start this? Just
Yeah.
Also, why are you bringing it up again? Can we just not talk about that ever again? And then she starts pouring herself glass after glass of wine. If your stomach is that upset, do you really think that that's a good idea?
Yeah. Well, that was after the revelation, and so she was clearly in a high state of anxiety and was using alcohol to kind of soothe herself. Also, not a very healthy habit. However, okay, so what happens in between those two things? Her having made this meal for Daniel and then drinking a whole bottle of wine by herself very quickly.
Well, she brings up the fact that she was married 5 times.
Yes, it's time to
And
tell Daniel the truth about her marriages. And It's funny because he does initially, I think, look mad to me. He looked like he was not happy about that, learning that she'd been married 5 times. But all of a sudden, he shifts. Did you take note of that? When
Yeah.
he said, oh, she could marry 100 men. It doesn't matter. If she wanted to, she could go marry as many men as she wanted to, as long as she does not miss out on the man she's destined to be with by God, of course, which is him. So, wow, this is so accepting and understanding of him, is it not?
Yes. Yes.
And were you not shocked and surprised at this very, very accepting Daniel?
I think at first he was all angry and then he was like, oh, shoot, the green card. Okay. Dial it
Yes.
back. Dial it back.
Yes.
Okay. No, no, I can deal with you being married 5 times.
Mhm.
And then he's like, okay, tell me about this fifth man, your fifth marriage, the way that she beats around the bush. I'm like, you're already letting it. You're already letting the cat out of the bag. Why don't you just continue with sharing the rest of your secrets? And by the way, it wasn't a man, it was a woman. And then his reaction to that, I've been laying with another man's woman or another man's wife. And
Yeah.
that's what he gets stuck on. He said that he
Yes.
could get shunned from the community for this.
He would be banished, indeed. I don't know if that's true or not. I will just assume that it is, since there are some very strict regulations and rules that he's been talking about ever since we met him. But yeah, the idea that he repeated over and over again, I've been sleeping with another man's wife, made me lol quite a bit. LOL. This is the bridge too far for him. This one,
This, yes.
that she's been separated from what he thinks is a man, but is in fact a woman, for almost 10 years, that
Yes.
they are theoretically or institutionally still married, however, have not been living as spouses for almost a decade. But no, this is the thing. This is the hill he wants to die on, which he tops off by saying, which also made me LOL out loud again, I never hide anything. I beg to differ, Daniel. I
Oh,
do. I This is not what we've seen of you so far. You do like to hide things quite a lot, and I think he's just happy because now he he's in a circumstance where he has more power over her because she has lied, hidden, kept secrets from him, and now he has the upper hand.
she goes away for a bit. He does his hemming and hawing and his pacing back and forth and repeating the things that he's been repeating. And she comes back and she immediately gets on her knees, begging for forgiveness. Again, in all of my years, I have never done such a thing.
Yeah, she's
But
really playing into the culture. Like, it is the role, it seems, of the woman to be a supplicant to the man, and she is definitely throwing herself into that wholeheartedly.
yeah. And then I don't know at what point she says this, but it was after her getting on her knees. Maybe it was after he, gets up and walks away. But she said that, um, or is it that she felt so empty? The laugh that came out of my mouth made me laugh that much harder.
Mhm.
After your midnight performance, I would hope so.
So ironic.
I know. And then there's this weird aside with him, like one of the little interviews where he said that white people tell the truth.
Yeah, that puzzled me. Uh, mm, no, everybody lies. I really don't know. Again, maybe cultural, but completely wrong. Everybody
Yeah.
lies. Everybody does. Okay, so my favorite quote from this episode for Lisa and Daniel was when she said, and this is the truest thing that she said all season. God knows she hasn't said very many true things. She said, I'm a fucked up person. Agreed. No, no notes. Just a
Yes.
yes.
Yes. So this is when the scammer realizes that he is being scammed
Yeah. Yes.
and he doesn't
It's
like it.
it's a beautiful bookend. Like, we start off believing that he's scamming her. Now it looks like she might be scamming him. And we've said it over and over again. They are perfectly matched because they both lie, they both scam. So more power to them. No, not really.
No.
I think that it's just they deserve one another. And this whole segment was a wonderfully book-ended segment because we start off with her literally shitting on him in the bed. And then we end with her doing the exact same thing, but figuratively by revealing all these things to him that she'd been keeping hidden for so long.
And yet she didn't even reveal everything in totality. So how great is
L-
that?
Lisa, what the hell are you thinking?
She's
Um,
not.
m- my final quote or note here is that when she goes back to the hotel, how awkward, by the way, was that bus ride, the van ride where they were both sitting in it but not speaking to one another
Her vacant stare.
after she downed a whole bottle of wine. Yes,
Mhm.
understandable. She looked like she was about to pass out. Anyway, she gets to the hotel, she gets her own room. She calls her daughter Faith, and we see another prime example of the parentification of the child. She dumps on Faith all of this information. She forces Faith into the parenting role where Faith is having to coach her on what to do and what's going on. And I just found that all very sad.
Yeah. Why wouldn't she call Jane?
Yeah, call your friend, call an adult. Don't dump this on your daughter.
And you already know how she feels about your relationship and your engagement and
Mhm.
whatever. But yeah,
Mhm.
let's call and put her through even more.
Any other comments?
Negative.
Reading on then, in that case, Forrest and Sheena, well, the bombs are still dropping. They are still under attack. Poor Forrest and Sheena. Molly has unleashed her guns, her grenades, everything. She's throwing everything at the couple. It's sickening.
I think the word that I wrote was abhorrent.
And the way that she tries to spin it as, oh, I'm just worried for you. I'm worried for both of you. No, you're not. Baloney. Big baloney. You're not worried for anybody except yourself. The way that she speaks so sarcastically and mockingly to both Sheena and Forrest oh, this was so ugly. Zero compassion for your own child, no care, no acceptance, no acknowledgement, nothing that would befit a relationship with your adult child, regardless of whether they have ADHD or autism or whatever, just completely disrespectful and disgusting.
I have a question. I don't know where production was or the editors were at this one, but it seems to be an ongoing thing. But what does it mean when she said that you're more full of shit than a Christmas goose?
I have no idea.
Okay, because my thought process was if you're going to be cooking a Christmas goose, wouldn't it be gutted already, and there would
You would
be
think.
nothing in it? So
Hmm.
and it's one of those like random things that people say that finally gives you pause, and it's like, where does that even come from? What does
Yeah.
that mean? But I didn't have the forethought to check it before we started recording. Anyway,
Oh. One of the lovely things that Molly said to Forrest was that he was supposed to allow I don't know. He was supposed to have Sheena prove herself to him and presumably to Molly before he proposed. She also says that Sheena is a pathological liar. Wow, more projection. So for me, it felt like the only way, really, that Molly would have accepted this proposal that happened without her knowledge is if Sheena had been giving all of her money to Forrest, because that's really the only problem that there is in this relationship from Molly's point of view. She believes that Sheena is trying to get money from Forrest. How, I don't know, because he hasn't actually given her any. But regardless, this is what she wants. She wants
yeah.
there to be this bank account that Forrest can put his fingers into and potentially withdraw from at any time. So that's really the center of her objection to them getting married, I think.
Oh, I don't know if there's anything like any other way that Sheena could quote unquote prove herself than if she just signed over her entire paycheck.
Yeah.
And that would be the only way to guarantee that that money's not going to Sheena's parents.
Hmm.
I just
What did you think of Forrest's ultimatum?
I thought it was a really great use of the reverse Uno card. You know, you're putting all these expectations on me, so now I'm going to throw one back at you. How do you like it?
Hmm.
And it gave her pause, and then just added fuel to the fire. I appreciated the fact that he seemingly took uh, a firm stance against her, though again, this couple and what I know. I thought it was good that he did stand up to his mom, whether or not this was overly produced or not. And she even said, You haven't even answered my question yet." And I thought it was great of him to say, "I didn't answer your question because it's ridiculous." And that's when he
Mhm.
pulls out the ultimatum. Like, okay, good for you, because that's the only way that you're going to be happy is if, I mean, I don't typically agree with ultimatums, but I think that given this an attitude, I think it's the only thing that would actually make her sit back and think twice about it, as opposed to just sitting there, just spitting her vitriol. Really don't think that it's going to go over very well, though I appreciated him standing up for the both of them in that capacity. Like, these are my
Yeah.
boundaries. Whether or not they're real. Also, shut up.
Okay, okay. I love the fact that he says to Molly outright, "Accept this, accept that I've just proposed to Sheena, or you will not be in our life." I was like, that is absolutely the right response, given the
Mhm.
kind of garbage that Molly is spewing towards both of them. He does exceptionally well, I think, handling his mother. When she is insulting both of them outright, he turns it into praise. He like turns the tables and it's like, well, thank you. I believe I can handle this on my own, or I will be independent, or we are doing a great job. But she's saying everything really sarcastically and trying to be mean about it. But he
Mhm.
just goes, "Yeah, okay, thanks, thanks, that's great." And it's such an effective method for diffusing the tension. I don't know if that's just his years of experience dealing with his mother, or if it just happened to go that way. But I thought it was brilliant. And then when she's faced with this, okay, the tension is being diffused and he's skirting around my insults and not falling into my trap that I want to force him into, which is to acquiesce and bow down and say, "Okay, mom, I won't. We'll call off the engagement. You get to call the shots in my relationship." She turns everything around. She's like, she focuses in on herself. "Oh, I'm the victim. I'm the one who's getting the short end of the stick here." And production, bless them, production is playing this sad violin music in the background when she starts doing this,
Yeah.
which was just chef's kiss perfect. And Forrest doesn't take the bait. He doesn't say, "Oh, mom, I'm so sorry. I don't." He just keeps moving on. Molly, you can make your own choices. He's ready to go off with Sheena to start their life together, and Molly can sort herself out and join them or not as she pleases, which is brilliant.
I thought that they handled themselves so well with her, like, over the last couple episodes. I feel like it's been 3 episodes of her yelling at them. Sheena does her best to hold her own, and, Forrest was quite quiet, and I was really hoping that he would say a lot more, but then when he actually does speak, specifically in this episode, like, you know how to handle your mother, apparently. So, I'm proud of you for doing so, and then it also made me wonder, like, because we know that he was scammed by someone else previously, did she pull this at this point or at that point? Has
Hmm.
he experienced this previously and he kind of predicted that this was going to happen? So he almost like emotionally prepared himself to just, take her jabs and just respond accordingly. And maybe the way that he responded previously was combative. And that's why she was trying to bait him or,
Mhm.
him groveling and, begging for forgiveness or whatever. I don't know.
My
He held his
final
own.
note he did, he did. My final note here was the parting shot was of Molly and Dev, specifically focusing on Dev's face, and, I mean, he really didn't say much throughout this whole segment. There was one question that Forrest addressed to Dev, but there was a kind of a non-answer. But the look on his face was priceless because he had very clearly and obviously moved into his happy place, and the music, the movie was playing already in his head, and he was gone, which I think shows how he copes with Molly.
Complete and utter disassociation.
Yeah, that's it. Shall we read
Yeah.
on?
Mhm.
Okay, back to Rick and Trisha. We haven't seen them in a couple of weeks. They are still living with the aftermath of him having revealed that he cheated on Trisha, and it doesn't really go the way that I wanted to. What did you think?
No, I thought it was disgusting that, she gets upset and he gets up and he gets physically right in her face. Can you give her some space? The fact that she doesn't ask for space at that point, I was like, Trisha, come on,
Yeah.
come on. Push him away. You don't need him physically touching you. That go away. And then, he's on his knees. Maybe that's the theme. He's on his knees and he's like, I'm not going to cheat on you. But yet you already did.
Mhm.
So how about you say, I'm not going to cheat on you again? But that's because you haven't actually said it out loud. Yes, I did cheat on you. You're not taking any accountability of this. God, and my notes. My lord, stop touching her.
She was so generous with him.
More so than I would have ever been.
Me
And you
too.
as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Even though she recognizes the hypocrisy in Rick, that he was coming down so hard on her for possibly talking to her ex, possibly having bad things going on with her ex, which was not occurring. And yet he was the one who was cheating the whole time and hiding it from her. It's a miracle that she's talking to him when she starts asking for reassurances that he's not gonna do it again. I was like, "Oh, okay. So we're going to go there. We're going to go back to let's forgive and forget. Let's do the second chances thing." And she allows him to do his best to make it right. Oh, really? I
I
mean,
really
how?
thought
How?
I really thought, and I'm pretty sure you had the same thought, that when he told her and she was like, I'm leaving, don't touch me, it's like, yay, all of the applause. Now she's gone and you
Yep.
will never see her again. And yet now we see them in the same hotel room and she's actually entertaining the
Mhm.
idea of like working things at no, mm-mm, no,
No,
you
this
were
guy is
too good for
not
him.
worth it. Mhm.
And then we
Yeah.
get to the fighting scene. Are we okay to move on to that?
Wait,
Okay.
okay. I just wanted to mention once again that the reason why Rick did it this way, which is so obvious, is because if he had told her before he went to Madagascar, then she would not be giving him a second chance. If he had told her as soon as he got there, rather than sleeping with her first, leading her on, taking her on romantic dates, going to little deserted islands, and doing all the fun things that they've been doing in order to create an emotional connection that's quite deep between the two of them, she might not have forgiven him. The
And
only reason
also
why he chose to do it now is because he knew there's a chance that she will let it go because they have already been intimate, they've formed this bond, etcetera, etcetera.
that's what I was gonna say about the intimacy. So it's not just about the emotional connection, but it's also about the physical connection that they had. And I agree, he wanted to establish that before he threw a Molotov cocktail in it,
Yeah.
which I really thought that had blown up sufficiently, and it apparently has not. I'm very confused by this.
Hmm. Well, let's keep going. We go to the fight scene next.
Okay. I found this very disturbing because even when they're watching it, he was asking questions about it, and she's like, I don't know. And he pipes up with, I thought you knew something about this.
Mm, condescending.
Okay. How is that helpful? Aren't you trying to prove yourself that you're going to be a better person and yet you're pulling this shit?
Mhm.
Okay. Isn't that great? And then she comes up with this stupid bet.
Well, wait.
Okay.
Before they do the bet thing, he says, as they're watching the fighting, that they could go home and do some wrestling at home. And I was
And
like, really? This is not the moment for the sexual innuendo. It's neither romantic, appealing, or anything else that is considered good. It is not the right time. It's
vile.
turn off big time. But then she's the one who offers to make this bet over if you pick the one that wins, I will sleep with you. If you pick the one that loses, I won't. And that blew me away. How can she be suggesting this? She she actually wants to sleep with him despite everything. Huh?
I was really hoping that she was using this as a way to toy with him. Perhaps these two fighters were known to have a double KO and therefore
Mhm.
no one would win,
Right.
but I don't know. And like if she was toying with him, why would she get his hopes up and like lead him on in that capacity again unless it was to toy with him and then to laugh in his face later, which I mean, kind of really would have loved that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't care what the play is unless she's also just as intent as Daniel about getting that green card, but she doesn't seem like the type. So I feel like there's like a bit of cognitive dissonance within
Mhm.
me about her and her behavior and her intention.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I can't comprehend nor accept the fact that she's actually that much into this guy that she's willing to overlook all of this.
It's just disappointing and confusing, as you said. We also find out that they are gonna go meet her family. It's kind of too late not to go anymore. They're waiting for them. It's been anticipated. And then icing on the cake or cherry on the top, Rick says, "You're not gonna tell them about it, are you?" Oh, Rick, always thinking about yourself and how you look. Yeah. That's good.
Again, lack of accountability. I can appreciate the fact that he wouldn't want her family to know about what he's done. And I think I mentioned this like during their last whenever they were on an episode last that when she introduced her family, she said that the culture or their tribe is very aggressive.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's probably not a good idea for her to tell them that because, maybe he's gonna get in the ring with one of her brothers. But also I kinda want that. So I mean, I don't wanna watch the fight. I just kinda wanna know that it happens.
Mhm. Mhm.
God, I don't know. This is just so uncomfortable and so disappointing.
Yes, it is disappointing. That is very true. Yeah, I'm I was so happy about Trisha. I was so pleased with her reaction the last time we saw them. I thought, finally, we're getting somebody to stand up to a shirt bag like Rick and who's
Mhm.
gonna give him his just desserts. And now I'm not so confident anymore. Anyway, shall we read on?
We've been trying to find someone to support for this entire season, and she
Mhm.
was the last remaining hope. And I mean, I hate disregarding Sheena because I really don't think that she needs to be vilified the way that she has been. So I'm gonna put her right back on top because Trisha girl, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay, yes,
Uh,
please let's move on now.
yes, Elise and Joshua.
Okay, let's not.
Oh, oh, okay. Yeah, there are a few things that kind of bothered me here. One was the
Okay.
fact when she was packing, she brought 8 purses with her. 8. Okay, whatever. And then there's that shelving unit in the background of that scene where she's packing
With
in
all
her
her
bedroom,
purses.
and all of the purses on their individual little shelves, these very expensive purses. Oh, please. Okay.
And then her giant laundry basket of bikinis.
Just half of her collection. Just half. There was like 300 in that thing. I think I have 2 bathing suits. I don't think I've ever had more than 3 at one time.
I think I have 3, and it's questionable as to whether 2 of them fit.
Yeah, exactly. There's always one that's like, this one's the elastic is going in this one, so I don't know if I can wear it anymore, but I'm gonna hang on to it anyway because otherwise I only have one. Okay, so whatever. There's a thing about the visa at the airport, which is all a bunch of baloney. She
Oh, yeah, I meant
has,
to ask you, is that even remotely a thing, or could that even remotely be a thing?
I have no idea. I don't know what the requirements are for Americans traveling to Down Under. No idea.
Well, it turns out that the issue with the visa was because she put her first name as her last name and her last name as her first name. Okay.
Okay. Daddy's money is so helpful, isn't it? She
Oh,
has
God.
3 extremely large suitcases and 1 smaller one.
Her
Seems like a
carry-on.
lot. Yeah. Yeah. She complains about Joshua having rented an apartment with his buddy Chris because obviously they're not going to stay with him at his parents' house. And he can't afford to get in a place on his own while Elise is visiting, even though I would presume it's only for a short time because he can't afford that. Weird.
And she said that even if he had told her, she would have offered to pay for half.
Hmm. Some more things are not adding up. Then we hear about his job, which is apparently selling luxury boats or yachts or something. He took one for a joyride. He crashed it. It may result in him losing his job. And I was very surprised at that. I would have thought it would be an immediate get the hell out of here, plus maybe some damages in the form of a court case.
Well, that would be theft over I mean, in Canada, it would be at least theft over 5,000 plus driving without or boating without a license plus whatever uh, the other equivalents would be. Was he sober? Who knows? But she said that his work gave him a final warning.
Yeah.
So what was the previous warning and or warnings that have resulted in this being the final one? And like what how is this a final warning?
Questions without answers, sadly. Also, why? Why does Chris put a huge portrait of himself over the bed in Joshua's room?
I mean, I thought that was pretty funny, but also why? Well, he wants
And
to assert his dominance in the hierarchy of, the roommate. So apparently she's going to
okay.
be a roommate now and he has to physically put that.
Did you not get any undertones of maybe Chris wants to be with Joshua?
With the amount of times that they were like holding each other's hands and such, I wouldn't be surprised if, he was, they're like friends with benefits. And then, Elise comes in and he's like, I'll get him when you leave.
I just and there was something a bit different about their relationship. And I don't know much about Australia. I've never traveled there, but as I understand it, it's quite a bro culture. Like women are feminine and soft and all of that stuff. They're a little bit, traditional in that respect. And men are macho shark riders and crocodile hunters, that kind of thing. So I was very surprised at the two of these men dressing up in their finery. They looked great, by the way, but holding hands at the airport and then the picture of the one above the other's bed. I was like, what exactly does this mean? I do not know.
I can't say that I hated it. I mean, I disliked it on a certain level, but I also found it fairly entertaining. Just, two friends enjoying each other's
Yeah,
company.
sure. Maybe that's
I don't
all
know.
it is. I don't
I
know.
don't
I
know what
did
that means.
just
I'm not a
odd
guy.
that
I don't know.
you're bringing this guy to the airport to meet your girlfriend who may become your fiance. And then you're all three of you going out on a date together afterwards. No? Am I just the only one who thought that was weird?
I perhaps Joshua has such low self-esteem that he needed his friend there for emotional support, but he didn't have the words to say that.
Okay.
Maybe he was actually afraid of meeting her. Maybe he knew that she was going to be too good for him, and his way of circumventing that would be like, "Yeah, so we're all going out to a bar to watch these horse races, and now you can't leave because my friend's here. You can't make me look bad."
Mhm.
She plays right into
Oh,
it.
yeah. Totally.
Oh my god, the fact that she was like, "Okay, each does she's boy, each gentleman, you take a suitcase and you find something." She pulls something out, and when she puts it on, it looked absolutely nothing like the way that I had seen it when she pulled it out. Apparently, it
Mhm.
was the entire back of the dress. I didn't see the front of it. But,
Right.
she was a trooper, I think to her detriment. She goes in, she gets ready. After a 25-hour flight, almost 30 hours of traveling, I want to shower, I want food, I want to go to bed. No, I don't want to go sit at a bar and watch a horse race with you that I don't know anything about. She rallied. She got it done. I don't know what else to say about that.
All right. Well, there's one little discrepancy that we haven't mentioned yet, which is that when they were interviewing Joshua, he said no as his answer when the producer asked him this question. Elise said, "You told her you were living with your parents." No to which part? No to telling Elise you didn't tell that to her, or no, you were not living with your parents. Because in fact, he's living with a woman who is a friend, he says, And he's been living with her for a few months while he looks for his own place, which apparently he can't afford. So that is another piece of the puzzle that doesn't want to fit.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of these two yet.
Well, I think she's just completely and utterly flighty. I think she is just so desperate. Desperation, maybe that's the theme of this entire season. Desperate to be loved, to fall in love. And she's
Mhm.
putting all of her eggs in one basket. He sees this as an excellent opportunity to have a trophy wife who is not just a trophy wife, but a cash cow.
Oh, yeah.
And he said he kept saying that, he was ready to get serious and to settle down, and yet he's going into this relationship while lying about who he's living with and where he's living.
Classic 90-day setup. Lots of lies, skimpy outfits, and
Questionable behavior and
very,
intention.
yes. Shall we read on?
Yes.
Our final couple this week are Aviva and Stig.
Breathing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm losing my patience with Aviva. I think we made that clear last week when we were discussing what's going on with her and Stig. She goes out with her Aunt Spring and Corinth, the woman who has the so-called evidence, the alleged
Oh,
evidence.
but before that, she says she's getting ready. He's like, "Where you going?" She's like, "I'm gonna go meet up with my Aunt Spring." And he's like, "Well, what am I gonna do all day? You can't leave me all day. It's a beautiful day. We could go to the beach. We could do this." And obviously, he's trying to talk her out of going to visit with Aunt Spring because he wants to continue to control the narrative. Sorry, please continue.
Not suspicious behavior whatsoever. She definitely does not believe herself to be pregnant because, once again, she's ordering a very, very strong drink. Alcoholic
She,
one, that is.
yeah, she asked for it strong, didn't she? A strong
That's the
mojito. Okay.
second or third time she's asked for her drinks to be strong. Okay. Reassuring in some ways, but not in others because if they're so
Intent.
irresponsible as to continue to have sex without any protection,
Yeah.
one would think that they're also so irresponsible as to not be taking pregnancy tests at frequent intervals in order to determine if this event has occurred yet. So, is she drinking while pregnant? I don't know.
Well, how long has she been there for?
I'm not
Is it a
sure.
week or 2?
I think it's a week or so, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know enough about pregnancy to know when to take that test.
Well, if you're trying to get pregnant, a good rule of thumb is to cease all alcoholic beverages until such time as you have had a baby or decided to stop trying for a baby. What do I know?
More than me.
In this one respect, perhaps. Okay.
Many.
So, Corinth, she gives the scoop to both Aunt Spring and Aviva about this relationship, so called, between Stig and her friend. She describes it as an on again, off again relationship, definitely with sex as a portion of that relationship. It has been going on for a long time. And the last time that they slept together is apparently a month ago, while Aviva and Stig had decided that they were exclusive.
So my question was, did he use a condom when he slept with this other woman?
Oh.
And the 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 phone call between the cousin and her friend, again, I don't know if this was a production thing. Why wasn't it on speakerphone? Because we've seen it on speakerphone where they, mask the name and the number or whatever. Was she even on the phone?
Mhm.
I think it's fishy on both sides, but I think it's more reasonable to believe that even if it's not this woman, that there is another one, if not several.
But that's reasonable.
Yeah. So
I had the same thoughts of you about the phone call perhaps being fake, being with somebody else or with no one at all. But the fact that she received the text message right afterwards where this woman says, "Oh, and by the way, we have already planned a getaway together. We're supposed to meet up for these dates to go to such and such a place. And that date happens to be the date that Aviva is leaving." Then I was like, oh, so something did happen on the phone because otherwise the timing of this text message would be completely random and very, very suspect. But also the fact that she's mentioning these dates and knows and that happens to coincide with when Aviva is leaving. Also, like, how many chances would there be of that actually being the right timing, you know?
It's the coincidences. Sure, maybe one, but they're amounting. And
Mhm.
again, I don't know if, if the cousin is playing some sort of game, if she's feeding information to someone else. I don't know any of these things. I don't have any answers. But I think that it's, again, more than plausible that it's true and or something of the similar situation is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really stupid when there was that um, little interview with her when she was like, okay, well, she said it was casual and we're serious. I mean, if you're serious and he has something casual on the side, is that not an issue? Like, she seemed to almost be trying to rationalize it within herself so that she could continue on with whatever she thinks that this is.
Mhm.
And at this point, like, I'm done with the whole, like, "Well, honey, you're just so naive." No. You're just blatantly skirting over the facts. You're making excuses. What does your gut say?
Yeah, great question. I feel like there's a beautiful contrast between Aviva's reaction here, which is so clearly one of somebody who wants to have everything align perfectly so that she can continue on to be with this man, even though it is fairly likely that he's been cheating on him. And Trisha, who has the hard evidence straight from the perpetrator himself that he has cheated, and we see her take that firm stance initially of no, that's it, I'm finished, we're through it, this cannot possibly continue, but then to soften and turn it all around and decide that he's to be forgiven. Oh, like, oh yeah. Okay, so Aviva is very naive, perhaps, idealistic, maybe. But when we meet Stig's father, Dwayne, and Dwayne has some very important things to say about Stig's behavior in the past with regards to women, that said it all for me. If your own dad is admitting that you have issues with women, especially in light of the career that you've chosen for yourself, need I say more?
Yeah. His dad's reaction also solidified it for me. Because obviously, like, you can rationalize and, whatever. Like, it's a TV show. Who knows? Right. But the fact that his dad was like, Dad, what the fuck have you been, sorry, what have you been doing? That clearly says a lot.
Yeah.
And at this point, Stig doesn't have a lot to say. Whereas, we've seen him in the room with Aviva where he's, laughing over everything. Oh, it's all a joke. He doesn't pull that with his dad.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Very, very telling, very interesting, and also very sad because then she decides to buy his story that he has in fact been faithful to her the whole time and he doesn't know this random woman whose picture she's just seen. So, yeah, she's on the road to forgiveness. I think this is what she's wanted from the beginning, for everything to work out and for Stig to be her guy. It's not going to last. There's no way. And the upsetting part for me is that in the meantime, while this relationship waits on the day when it will implode, they will get pregnant and there will be serious consequences for this child and for both of its parents.
I really wish that these people would understand that these kids are human beings and that your family dynamic is going to impact their lives, their
Mhm.
entire lives. They're not just toys. They're real human beings who are going to grow up to live in society.
Yeah, well, for them, it's clearly not that much of a big deal, and they haven't thought that far down the road to really understand what it is that they're doing.
And then what really bothered me was his last segment where
Mhm.
he was going on about how, yeah, he did say that he would, be official with her and be monogamous. And yet, he hadn't met her yet, so he didn't really know if things were going to work out. So he was still quote unquote entertaining people on the side. He didn't sleep with any of them. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
And
Nudge, nudge.
all of that really fits in to to this whole situation. Like, he just admitted on camera that he was entertaining other people just before she came because he didn't know if it was going to work out.
And if it was so innocent, if in fact he was not sleeping with other people, then why is he hiding that from Aviva? Because he mentioned that he hasn't
Yeah.
told her. If it wasn't anything, if nothing happened, if all you were doing was entertaining, then
Whatever that means.
it's
Texting, whatever.
okay. Yeah, let's say texting or flirting with, enjoying the company of, but not romantically or definitely not sexually. Then why not tell Aviva, hey, you know what? I have to admit that this is how I acted before we met, but now that I'm with you, uh, I just want to be with you and no one else. It doesn't smell right, Stig.
I'm not going to use that as a segue. So when they first get to the bar, uh, Aunt Spring was like, "What do you want?" She's like, "I don't know." She's like, "No, I'll get you a panty ripper." And I had to look up what that was because I've never heard of it. Do you know what it is?
I'm not sure.
It is coconut rum, pineapple juice, possibly a splash of grenadine, and or a maraschino cherry. Now that sounds absolutely delicious,
Hmm.
but the name of it and the fact that Aunt Spring was so comfortable saying it out loud made me feel uncomfortable.
Me too. And the fact that they kept the moment in that scene when the bartender puts the drinks on the counter and says, here are your panty rippers or whatever, made me think that that was a very deliberate choice. Both Aunt Spring saying the name of the drink and then hearing it again with the bartender. They're
Well, it
trying to
had
tell
to have
us, they're trying to tell us something. The producers are.
been.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I've ever had a coconut rum with pineapple juice before. I think it sounds delicious. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a, what is it? Pina colada. Okay. Yeah.
Final thoughts for this week?
That was probably my highlight.
The drink. I was more intrigued by I think it was called the coconut mojito that they were having. Did you, when
Was it a
when Aunt
coconut
Spring,
watermelon mojito?
there was a coconut something mojito and then there was another one and it was pink. So I think it might've had strawberries in it. Anyway, that one made me salivate. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one was a strawberry and one I think was a watermelon coconut. I
Okay.
could be wrong. I don't
Mhm.
know. Coconut was not included in the original order. So when
No.
the waitress came
Yeah.
over to drop it off, I was like, "But
Yeah.
refreshing. Delicious."
All right. Well, that's lovely. I like ending on a note where we think about all these drinks that we want to someday have in the future. Anything else?
No.
Okay.
I'm glad this episode's over. Thank you.
Before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. If you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week.